Get already into that. All right, man. Good meeting this morning.
Yes, sir. What's going on, guys? To the Blanche crew. No alcohol today. It's gonna be disciplined.
It's Monday. It's Monday, right? We're drinking until I'm drinking Tuesday night, tomorrow night.
You got to, man. You got your brother in town, man. That's a must.
Yeah.
You know, as long as we keep our 4-day workout, every other day, so we get rest. Instead of we used to go like 5 days a week and stuff like that. Which
I used to go every day.
we know you're everyday type of going to the gym 3 times. What you say, every day?
I was going to
3 machines.
2-3 machines.
Yeah.
But with cryo and then with sauna, sometimes like doubling up. I feel like, I don't know. It was a good cycle.
Yeah.
I mean,
we definitely had to change that up in the long run. As you can tell, John's a little buffed up now, probably like 7 to 10 pounds more muscles.
I feel like I
am. I had to
am,
force this motherfucker to actually do some workout.
I'm walking differently.
Yeah.
Especially today.
Strong legs, but tend to give up with the flabby arms.
That's all that matters, man. That's that testosterone. Comes
that
from the
chest
floor.
is coming back out, though.
Testosterone's right in your legs.
Eating healthy, except for just drinking beers, man. I don't think
I mean, for dinner I had chicken from Unicog, and I had hummus as a dip. So it's lemon hummus, so that's pretty good. So, but earlier today I had some turkey dogs and rice and sauerkraut, which is a weird combo, but like I love sauerkraut.
Yeah.
I don't like kimchi. But I like sauerkraut.
Yeah, I mean I can do both actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I had a little 3-piece Jollibee, I had to keep, the heritage going sometimes, I actually eat more Filipino food than anything, to be honest with you.
That's pretty good though. Just chicken, rice, and gravy.
Yeah.
Better than chicken and biscuits and mashed potatoes and gravy.
Yeah.
KFC. Now, all right. So let's just recap today, because I think today's Monday. This morning I called you up after I talked to investors, people part of the Turo business, people part of the Tip Advance business, and it's kind of crazy how it all comes together every single time I'm speaking with somebody, whether or not they're an investor or someone that we're partnering up with or potentially partnering up with, or someone we're just doing business with, like somebody I'm doing business with for vehicles. It's like, how does that mix into it? Also wanted to talk about, which we've never talked about in front of anyone, which is the new brand that we're launching, also part of the Turo business, but really luxury brand, and that's Carte Blanche. Carte Blanche Black, carteblanche.black is the domain. And I called you this morning because after all those conversations, I woke up at 6 o'clock. Actually, I woke up a little bit earlier than 6, but I was on the go at 6 o'clock. Went to Starbucks, had some coffee, was in the office before anybody else was in here. So it's nice coming into the office where like nobody's here.
First one here, last one here, man. That's dedication, brother.
Well, I skip the middle of the day, I just come here when they're either leaving for lunch or leaving for home. But I was talking about we have to put Carte Blanche with the Turo business, the luxury business, the high-end luxury business, and that's the purpose for Carte Blanche. It's supposed to be just for the cars, but how to mix it into Tip Advance. Now, because I'm designing it currently right now, and that's not always going to be the case, our logos are pretty similar, right? I'm doing that on purpose as well. I like the way the Tip Advance Trust Fund, logo is, and that almost kind of like a co-brand. I love that name, Trust Fund, because it builds interest. What is this all about, Trust Fund? And then they go to Tip Advance, like, it's only supposed to build interest. But also, what are we doing with that trust fund? What did you think when you saw the name Trust Fund? Because I didn't really talk to you about it before. I was just like, here's what it is.
I mean, if you think about Tip Advantage, if you actually go through the process and go through it, and then when you hear Trust Fund, man, it's pretty much like kind of like, a small company that is giving great interest rate to these, I would say, I don't want to say bottom of the barrel type of workers, which I'm a bottom of the barrel type of worker. Working at PT, it's kind of hard to get that.
Right.
But in the long run, oh shit, man, I blanked out, bro.
It's all good.
Blanked out.
Well, the original idea, or the reason why I wanted that trust fund name, was because, I grew up lower middle class, barely middle class, right? But my parents did one great thing. They put me near the vicinity of wealth and massive richness, or riches. And so, I'm in a house at the time in Orange County, California. Beautiful city, Laguna Hills, but I'm in a house that's worth maybe 350, 400. Eventually went to 800 when the market boomed.
Mm.
But just a block away, friends that I hang out with, they're in like mini mansions, right? With their guest house bigger than my house. And when they turned 15, when they got their permit, they got BMW M3s. And complaining if it wasn't the top model M3, if they just got a 3 Series BMW, just bitching to their parents, right? And for me, I had to go to my aunt, get her beat up Honda Civic, you know what I mean, and like get that for $500 and make payments for the rest of my life on that vehicle, and still owe her, or at least tell her that she's my favorite aunt, although she was my favorite aunt. And because she bought me early, right? She bought me when I was 15. What better way to buy a kid is when they're 15 and with a car, right? It's like, that was our era. I don't know if that's going to be the future, because people are probably not going to care about cars, or kids aren't. But anyways, I looked at those kids as trust fund kids. But I saw the qualities in them, but also those qualities kind of like motivated me, right? So, I had a beat up old Civic that I learned how to fix cars. I learned how to really fix them and fix them up. And so I was still cool, entry level cool, but I had to really work for it. And so that trust fund name is just like, listen, like I'd love to one day. I remember growing up, and even now it's like I wish I was a trust fund baby. I wish one day I could be looked at as a trust fund baby. And so my whole goal was to move into the number one safest city in the U.S., Irvine, California. That was the goal. In Orange County, every kid's goal, as you get older, you want to be in LA, or you want to be in San Diego, because Orange County was like in the middle. Nobody wanted to stay in Orange County. I wanted to go to Irvine, where it was like rich, right? Because I knew, just like, I always believed that, like, you surround yourself around rich people, you start understanding that world.
Right? There's a value there for some odd reason.
Oh man, you go to my house and it was just like chicken adobo and rice, and rich kids love that, right? Yeah. When I go to like my rich friend's house, it was like they got a game room, and there's like actual arcades that's current, right? They got all the gaming system, and when their mom says it's snack time, she just calls the maid and says prepare them whatever they want, and it's like, dang,
that's different cultures though,
That's what I'm saying, but it was a nice blend, right? So like today, I think that defines me. Pretty universal with money, but as you see it today, it's just like there's a connection there when it comes to people who understand and don't understand. And sometimes it comes from like the haves and have-nots, right? And so I think it's all about that trust of where you actually come from or how you grew up. And it's like, just because I didn't grow up rich, but I grew up around rich, there was a level of understanding. I think it brings me here today. It's just like, it's easy for me to talk to investors. I'm not scared of asking for someone for $1 million, $5 million, or $10 million. So part of the business on my side is the investment side. And it's worked to my advantage because they see me as that workhorse that can go in and do the back end, do the tech. I look like the tech guy, I look like I'm good at math, but I just work really hard. I'm not really actually good at math. Actually, I think you're better than me at math, like in your head. I'm good at spreadsheets. That's it. I'm good at spreadsheets. Like, I mess around with spreadsheets all the time, and that's the only reason why I figure things out. But like even with the churro business, how I was doing like 50-50 after expenses, and I'll do anywhere from 7% to 15%. You calculated that we should be at 30-35%, right? And I mean, the number 33 looked great to me because it's like 1/3, right? Yeah. If I'm doing all the work, then you're right. That range is correct, but I didn't see that beforehand. There's no way I could pre-frame myself there, right? So I understood like the pricing of the vehicles, the type of vehicles, how to offer that service to where I'm getting that high level of clientele. But then the day, like my facade, it's like I know how to talk to these rich people because I knew how to talk to their kids. Yeah. Right. And so trust fund was just like, listen, I want somebody to see like tip advance as like, what is that? Is that a rich kid? Is that a trust fund? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on? And then also, once I thought about the name, our business is all about a fund, right? We're creating these funds to be able to set products for tip advance, for the microloans, the cash advances on the tips, everything from even investments, right? Investing into mortgages that we provide as a financial instrument for, for example, for mortgages and for car loans, or for business opportunities. Like if someone we were talking about this morning, if someone was a bartender, we want to hit them from all aspects. Like they had friends like they were rich kids, right? But then a rich kid couldn't come in, right? So for example, I had two sets of friends, and they would never trust each other. If you were, I'm gonna say just say it. When I say poor, it's just the direct opposite of rich, right? It's just separate two things. My poor friends, which again a lot of them were not poor, they just weren't rich, right? So I'm gonna call them poor. My poor friends and my rich friends didn't really get along. They would never mix circles. But at my house, my parties, like we all came together. But it was like that connection of that trust. And so going back to this like trust and then fund, you're the trust part for, I'm not going to say the poor, but the industry, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I'm on the side of the banks and the lenders and the investors. It's like literally like, here's a way for us to get in. Here's a way for you to get in. Here's a way for everybody to benefit. And then we started thinking about, which I thought was a crazy thought at first when I started talking to other people like Ben, people in the industry, and start talking about like how people in the industry, adult entertainment industry here in Vegas, how much money they actually make, and they have nowhere to put it. And just hanging out with you, graveyard shifts between 12 and whatever, 8 o'clock in the morning, we got to see it. I got to see an experience. You probably see it all the time, but for me to see it, I'm like, wow, to watch a girl who's in the industry come in and she's playing every single machine, dropping like $100, like she's just giving out dollars to little kids. It's like, it seemed too crazy with money coming out her bag, drives a nice house, has a big house, drives a nice car, drives a nice house, has a nice house, has a big house, and drove a nice car and made that money. Where's she putting her money? And so, now we're going to have that fund, right, where based off that trust in the industry, it's for the industry. And so we want to be able to have that opportunity for those people, not just big time investors, not just the uber rich and people who know how to make a dollar, make money, make another dollar, instead of you earning money through labor, trading your time for money, trading money for money. And that's how people get rich. That's how people stay wealthy. And now we're taking that right back to the industry and giving them an opportunity to be able to invest, earn an interest, earn revenue, sharing part of our revenue and profits. And from day one, I think the math for me was a way for me to prove to you, like, it was about trying to get you to trust me that I didn't want to build a business to make it like a loan shark place, right? Like high cash advance interest, anywhere from 29 to 35 to 50 to 60%. I told you pretty basic math. And so going back to spreadsheets, I was like, listen, this is as honest as it can be. They pay back their cash advance loan in 3 days, it's 3%. 4 days, 4%, 5%, 6. I want it also simple to understand, because really simplicity is what makes it effective in the messaging. And that way they know. And then early on, we also made sure that we were just a management fee and not the actual bank. And that way we would never get greedy. So the only people who really make money off of waiting for loans for 14% are our investors. So, but that kept us safe. It made this opportunity where we were able to raise money for our company without giving up equity. Our company is not a tech company where we're trying to raise money. We're trying to create a fund, replace a bank, fill a need. And that was another thing too. I mean, I knew people who, were in the industry and they can afford a $500,000 home on what they get paid in tips, but on paper, they didn't qualify. And what I found out was a lot of times banks will take like your paycheck, right? And they'll be like, okay, they'll even break it down to like zip code or area that you're working in, even the restaurant that you're working in, what your title is, how long you've been in the business, and then they take your hourly, right? And then they take how many hours you work on average, and then that's how they determine the risk factor of how much money that they'll lend you.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you might not be reporting your cash. And even if you are, they'll barely count that. They're not going to count that as 100% because they think it's too risky to bank on that. Even your credit card transaction, anything that's labeled as tip, they're going to look at that differently as your hourly. So now you're only getting approved for like literally what you make hourly. And in the industry, that's a little bit tough, right? So it's like if you're making, $120,000, but 60% of it is in tips one way or the other.
Yeah, definitely the math's not looking right in the long run.
It's not looking right.
Especially when you're looking for like like $300,000 to $400,000 range when it comes to homes. You might get approved, but they're gonna come back to you, be like, "Hey, we had this studio, this one bedroom that's probably worth like $175,000."
You get treated differently.
That you might be able to can afford, but nah.
And that's the whole thing, right? It's like I remember going to the dealership and wanting to. Did I tell you the story? I went to the Nissan dealership because my business was starting to do good. Like my company alone was like I think personally I was able to put in my own pocket $250,000, but I left it with the company. So the company was just like stacking it up because I wasn't spending my money on anything. Went in there, wanted to buy a 350Z, and that was a car that was just like wasn't too expensive. I mean, I definitely could have afforded more, but I wanted to be just like that was a car that was on the list. And it was just like 5 years before that, 4 years before that, it was like that was the toughest thing to do, to get that car. And now it's just like if I wanted to, I could pay for that car cash. So I went in there going for that car, and what did they do? They led me to the used side, not even the same Nissan side. The parent company also owned Honda, and Honda was on the other side. And like, oh, you seem like a guy who would love Hondas. I got a really great deal. I know you came here with a mission to get something. And showed me a Honda Accord, which was beautiful, but I was like, that's not what I want. I already know what I want.
Profiling yours
automatically, and it was such a challenge. And by the time I came inside, and they're like, well, these cars, the price plan is gonna really be based on your credit. I was like, they're like, how strong is your credit? I was like, oh no, I've had a couple car loans, but who cares? Like, just tell me what it is, and let's get going. So what ended up happening was I got pissed off. I was a little bit tipsy. Came from dinner, I just came from sushi with my wife at the time, and I was like, what's the most expensive car here? And that's the story of me buying a Nissan Armada, because I didn't even know what a Nissan Armada was. Mm-hmm. It was the highest ticket item there, and I walked off the lot there, and that car I probably could have paid cash for, but I got it financed, right? Put down my name, they ran my credit, and it ran through real good. I mean, I think my credit score the number didn't show high, but obviously, being in business, you use your credit a lot, and so sometimes that number is a challenge. But I walked off the lot, and so I never wanted to build a company based off of that perception. But at the same time, I know that these are the rules of the game. This is all a game. Business is all a game. How you're perceived is a big element, and so perception definitely takes you further than even value, which is absolutely crazy. But I realized the math on it. I'm in the material business, I'm in the car rental business, and I charge 3 to 4 times more than everybody else does. But because I'm making so much money off these cars, I can offer so much service. And like for example, I didn't tell you this, but like the Audi got a ticket for like doing business out of the airport. It's like a $50 ticket. If you don't pay within a certain time, it's a $100 ticket. But I used to get this at LAX, I used to get this everywhere else. I'm just paying it. It's part of. I consider it part of doing business. I'm like, yeah, I can fight it. Yeah, the cop is being an asshole, or whatever those parking garage attendants are. They're being an asshole. Just write me a ticket for doing business there, and it's just like I'm paying for parking, but I just pay it like it's a part of business. But imagine if I wasn't making that much money off these cars. I wouldn't be able to do that. As soon as they gave me one ticket, it would scare me away. And I'm like, listen, that's all the profit that I made off this car for that one rental. And it's like, that's tough. So that perception, that perceived value gets in the door, but it also allows you to provide a real strong margin, right? That profit margin. And I love this saying, it's like, there's no mission without margins. And that's absolutely true. If you're not making money, no matter how much you care about the customer and you want to give them the service, curbside delivery, brought to them in 5 minutes, free delivery right now while they're stranded because another rental fell through or the person canceled on them. I'm that person because I can afford it and I can go and I've taken a trip out to like Henderson, dropped off a car and taken Uber all the way back for, I don't know why it cost me $40, but it cost me $40. But if I wasn't making money, I wouldn't be able to provide that service.
Yeah.
Keeping the cars clean, I run the cars through the wash every single day. And it's like, even if I wasn't part of the car wash, I'd go to my nearest car wash and I'd be able to afford to drop not just the $10 for the basic wash, but $20, $30 for the premium wash, and ultimately saving me time, making the car look better. It's just higher quality. So going back to Carte Blanche. We had a discussion this morning. A 5-minute phone call became a 50-minute phone call, maybe even longer.
About an hour for sure.
Yeah, and so I was telling you about Carte Blanche, and what I wanted to really express was like, I need you to start creatively thinking about how we wrap this around, because it is a car rental industry. It kind of does help strengthen our values and goals from the foundational standpoint for tip advance. And tip advance, I do want that high end. We've been thinking about price points, what people can afford, what looks good, and one word that I want Carte Blanche to really embrace is like avoiding the word discount, right? There's forms of discount that make sense, right, and that could apply. Like free delivery, technically is kind of a discount, right? Like them committing to a longer rental. I'm maxed out on all my discounts, but I'm maxed out because my price point is so high.
Yeah.
Right. So when someone books, for example, on my Turo business for a month, they're practically getting 60-70% off. And the reason why I want that discount is because while they're going through the checkout, they're just like, wait, that's how much I'm getting. That's how much I'm saving. So now that line item, instead of an added line item, like, oh, here's an extra, like pay extra for delivery, pay extra for this, they're seeing this line item going, wow, I saved 45%, I saved 60% for booking for a whole month. I'm saving a ton of money. Rich people don't really, they do like discounts, but they want the discounts after they've known that they're paying for the most expensive thing. So they shop for the most expensive. I've talked to a lot of renters and I'm like, why did you choose my car? They're like, oh, well, it's substantially a lot more and like the most expensive one. And I'm like, that's the type of renter I want. You know what I mean? But then they register for 3 days, so they got 25% off. I'm still way higher than anybody else, but that's how I buy too. Like, if I don't know, like when we go anywhere to like go eat, it's like I don't really want to look at the menu. I order whatever someone else says that they want to order, and they're all into, maybe they've tried it before, other than that referral. But if I'm by myself, I'm just like, I'm not even looking at the items because I can really eat anything. And I'm going to an awesome place. I'm just like, all right, this dish is $18. This dish is $30. I'm going for the $30 dish because it must be that much better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm looking at that side of the thing. And it's like, oh, wait, there's a fucking, there's a $25. That's the second most expensive thing. That's what she's getting. So, it's like, but like, that's how a lot of people, I think, decide. But when they come out with like free sides, it's like, hell yeah, I feel like I came up.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like that whole mindset is what Carte Blanche, and for anybody who doesn't know what Carte Blanche is, a lot of people I guess don't. It just means like open check, whatever you need, whatever you want, right? And so that name really stuck with me, and it just, I wanted something that defined not cars, right? So like it doesn't say cars or anything like that.
Yeah.
In fact, we were thinking about the logo. I mean, it's similar to the Tip Advance logo because I'm really sold on this like Tip Advance logo. So I'm like, I need to make it something similar.
The majority of probably our logos would be like similarity to all of them, to be honest.
I love them to be all just the same, all just a bunch of shields. Can you imagine? It was just like, or this is our office right now, but once we get our own office, it's gonna look like a castle, and we're just gonna have a bunch of these shields everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's cool. We think about things like sponsoring like pool tables and having our logo right there. Not even saying Tip Advance or Trust Fund or Carte Blanche or anything. Just having the Tip Advance logo just right there. So that's what it really means to us. We don't want to tell people what our company really does. We want the people who are members, our customers, to tell the customers exactly what we do. I think that's the whole goal. Less is more. And Carte Blanche and with Tip Advance wanted to not merge, but I really wanted to work creatively together, since it is all hospitality. But we'll see what happens. It's interesting how it all came about.
Yeah, and then with tip events as well too. Like you don't like when you talk to a bartender about it. Like you can talk to any bartender and you can literally explain tip events to them within like 2 or 3 minutes, and about 95% of them is going to literally, get it right away because they know, like the service industry, as far as like the interest rate is going on here, as far as trying to get a home, get a car loan and stuff like that. So it's gonna be pretty easy for us like industry people to try to understand, and they already kind of know the tip advancement world, But definitely we need to get them to get to the Carte Blanche, which we need to get there as well too. So we're gonna get there where they're gonna be driving, nice little luxury cars.
Well, like what you said, instead of them like upgrading them, almost like showing them what's available to them. Which is nice.
Yeah, and then which I definitely help them. Because there's guys out there, guys and girls that want nice luxury cars that they can't afford. Instead, they can come up to us, give them a small interest rate and give them a little small car loan and make it happen for them. And I think by us doing that, they're gonna look at us and be like, yo, these guys actually they made it happen, less interest, less paperwork, and it's almost like just because they're in the industry, we're going to take care of them. You will be taken care of when it comes to financials.
Yeah, they know that we trust them. Therefore, we've earned their trust because we trust them first. But when I say trust, it's not like we're just going to give anyone a loan. All of this is going to be mathematically correct.
Yeah, numbers have to be there. Your tip, allocation, as far as like what you're getting out. We're going to need all those info just to make sure that, we have to trust you so you can trust us, when it comes to the fund, trust fund. So in the long run, just, keep up with your tabs, make sure you calculate those tips. But we're definitely going to find a way to get, the tips a lot easier in the long run, which, we need to put it on tip advantage,
Yeah, we'll streamline the whole thing. It can be as simple as just taking a picture and uploading it, sending it, and applying it to the Tip Advance network, and that's your credibility. It's not your credit score. It's not the mistakes that you've made in the past. It's not even the successes that you've done in the past. I mean, someone could have a 720 credit score, and the only thing that they really had was a student credit card from when they were 18, and they were just using that card right. And because of their zip code, because of people in their household, credit looks different, right? And all that stuff, all those things apply to it. We don't look at any of that. In fact, we're not going to run no credit. It's going to be based off performance. We'll know just based on tips alone. We'll know what days you work. If you're working swing shift, and we know the type of restaurant that you're working at. You're working at a restaurant that does, $15,000, $25,000 per day, and they pick you for the swing shift, meaning dinner shift, and until 12 o'clock. We know that that company that you work for values you because they put you at one of the best spots, and that's where you come in, identifying the industry like red flags, but also the green flags. And we make money off the green flags, off making sure we make things work. And here's what's funny: the reason why someone sometimes can't afford a luxury car and they go for the cheaper cars, because that's what they've been told, that's what they've been programmed, right? They're told that this is your interest rate, that's what it's going to be. They've never had a car loan before, they've only had one, they have very little credit. In reality, the bank probably looks at them and they're like, wow, this is great, because the dealership makes more money getting you at a high percentage at certain banks. They didn't tell you that you qualify for, if you're going to Chevy, that you qualify for GM for 2 to 3%. Why? Because there's no kickback, there's no incentive, there's not much of an incentive. They're going to send you over to Capital One or Santander, one of these subprime banks that's going to nail you for 12% to 18%. Why? Because they get a nice kicker. Plus Santander, Capital One, and all these subprime banks, they come in and they take care of dinner, they throw them gift cards to the salespeople and the sales managers. So of course they're going to go direct them over there, because that salesperson, the sales manager, the sales director, and the finance director all make a little piece more than they're getting into the worst loan out of what's available to you. Most consumers don't know what's available to them. Tip Advance, we just wash all that out. Where you think that you're going to get a car let me just put an example, right? Like a Toyota, what's a Yaris, right? You get a Toyota Yaris, but you're paying $400 or $500 per month. I'll tell you right now that there's leases for brand new Mercedes-Benz C300s for the same price. Yeah, it's a lease, but they're going to tell you like, well, you might not want this car to keep after X amount of time, but leases are definitely for temporary. But here's the deal: most people who are in that position, a lot of times they might be the type of person who might want a new car in 2 to 3 years. And those lease options, sometimes they have buyouts, and you can negotiate. The right salesperson, the right finance director can get you in a real good position. Where it's the same exact thing. Leasing and financing can be the same thing. It's just the dealerships don't take care of the people, right? And people don't understand how those things really work. But the contract's pretty much the same. So it's really about the information that's not given to you, right? And so our company can make a whole lot more money offering even leases. We can have special customized leases, 3-year leases, 2-year leases for certain cars that our company will supply you with, but we're going to get you in a lower monthly payment. And what that does, and lower down payment. What that does is we hope that you take that down payment and maybe we have a financial product like you want to invest in with us, and you take that little bit of money and you start thinking about investing. And we're not going to charge you a ton of money on the front just so that we can get paid on commissions. In fact, we're going to get you in the opportunity in the vehicle for as little as possible, or the house, right? And then we're going to throw incentives as, for example, the low interest rate. But that money that you're saving, we also want to be kind of your bank, right? We want to replace the bank, and we want to replace them because we just want to eliminate all the other things that banks take advantage of. And they take advantage of a lack of knowledge and a lack of information. It's not a lack of resources or a lack of money or a lack of what you make. It's not directed because there's no motivation for the salesperson to make less money to get you in the right product. And that's the part that sucks. So Tip Advance, although we're not a bank, we definitely want to eliminate a lot of issues that people in the industry have with banks.
Yeah. I think that's probably the whole reason we created Tip Advance in the long run, because
that's what it evolved to, yeah.
So many industry people out there, having a hard time buying, homes, of course, like cars, they can get, manage their way, sometimes, get a decent car and stuff like that. But when it comes to homes,
that's hard, yeah.
I would probably say it's definitely less than 30% that these guys even get a house, house loans these days.
I mean, that's a good guess.
You're gonna need like co-signers, maybe your parents to come along, but it's hard, man. Especially if you're a single parent or single,
Oh yeah, single income home. Yeah, it's a tough deal. I mean, it's tough because even the city of Las Vegas, they have like incentives or house buying programs because they see it too. They see that these banks are taking advantage and trying to ask for X amount for a down payment. But today, here in Vegas, because of the growth of the city, and you have a lot of development companies out here, now these developers are trying to find the best bank or financing options for their people because they want to sell you a quality house, right? Instead of you just affording a $250,000 house, they want to put you in a $350,000 home. And the way that they're able to do that is by not ripping you off on the interest rates, on the type of loan that you get, and milking you for everything that you have at closing, pretty much your down payment. And then your initial expenses probably just moving, which could be expensive, right? So even the state of Nevada, here in Vegas, they even understand that as well too, and they're trying to support the companies and the individuals, and they're putting out that information. And there are some realtors that are providing that information and redirecting you there. But I will tell you, from one that I know, Clarisse, she tries to sell expensive homes, but she makes so much money off expensive homes. Going back to this model, right? She entertains it and she serves the rich. But because she does, she doesn't have to make money on anybody else. So now she's just like, here's the best loan for you. Here's the best house for you. Oh, go to this new development because they have a deal with this lender. And that's the way you want it. Elon Musk, he starts selling really expensive cars, but since day one, he's like, eventually I will get to a $30,000 car, and make it affordable as much as possible for everybody to have. And so that's what we're following that same math. We're following that same business model. we're going to provide a service at the highest level, and there are going to be companies that are going to be paying us. That's also something that we talked about today. I know we've been talking about price points for the industry, and honestly, we're not even looking at anything that would charge the industry, our members, the people who spread the word, the people who are our fans, people who are leveraging what we have to provide. They're the ones who, we're not looking at a price point to make money. In fact, our goal, and this is going to be always 100% transparent, is to make money off sponsors, big time advertisers, brands that understand how important it is to get in front of our members, in front of people that we work with. I'm going to be a customer. You're going to be a customer of Tip Advance. We're creating products that we would use and that we're going to use, right? For investments, everything else, cash advance, whatever it may be, leverage. That's pretty much it. Tip Advance, be the trust of the industry, and now transferring that trust and knowing that the banks that we work with, the lenders that we work with, our funding partners, it's all about that level of trust. They trust that we understand how the industry works and that we're looking at credibility within the industry individual based off of how they work, where they work, when they work. Not about their credit score, not that they've had a car repo during the pandemic, none of that. Missed payment for their mortgages because they went through a divorce, whatever it may be. Like, we're not looking at any of that. In fact, we'll never look at any of that. We're going to base all our math on the industry, and we'll tell you that this is the least amount of risk for you as a member. Because that's what being the middleman, we want to make sure that we continue the relationship as much as possible. And again, we're going to be making, I almost said millions of dollars, like it's a secret. We're going to be making millions of dollars signing up big sponsors who have the advertising budget that want to get in front of the members. And these are going to be brands that our members love and they respect because they are putting money right back into the industry. But we're just taking it out, we're taking out the middleman. And in a sense, we're a middleman, but we're directing that money right back into incentives, into like great products and services that we can provide for the industry to help them make more money and then be able to leverage money the way that it should be. Not to catch up, but to advance. Tip Advance.
Tip Advance.
How sick, huh?
Yeah. Just the name alone, man, is like, it pretty much tell you what it is, So when it comes to Tip Advance, like I say, people want their money right then and there. You can't get it in your hand, but when you got that iPhone or that, that Android, you can literally get it like a couple of clicks, you know what I mean? Right to your phone. And with what, 3%, interest rate charge?
So
you can't go wrong with that.
I don't know if we ever talked about this. We talked about this in the last video. You watched the last video, but so we'll put it out there right now. The solution or the problem that we're trying to build a solution for, that we're trying to solve, is people not getting their tips or needing money right away, and we wanted to provide cash advances based off of someone's performance on their tips, not just their paycheck, and then charge the lower interest rate, lower than anybody else in the market. And so that was a Tip Advance. But to show you that we aren't truly trying to solve a problem, is we also have on the opposite side, on our front side, where someone pays you through tips through a credit card, and they pay you through Tip Advance. Every single one of our members, every single buddy in the industry will have a specific QR code specific to them that somebody can tip them directly through Tip Advance, through your personal website. It's your website, your QR code, your website off Tip Advance, and they can pay you directly. And the restaurants are going to love this because every time that they have to pay you $100 tip that they put on a credit card, the restaurant hates it because they pay $3, up to $3. Some of them get discounts, but sometimes it's a little bit more. $3 plus the management of having to manage all this through payroll. There's a percentage on that, and then have to deal with taxes and everything else. Well, imagine if they can just scan your QR code. We're going to have them on shirts. we wanted to share that, but we're gonna have in the shirts. We're gonna make it real easy for people to tip you, or even just scan the QR code right off the phone. Boom, they tip you, and guess what we do? We pay you right away. No charge. They tip you $200. Guess what? That money doesn't actually go to us right away. We wait 2 to 3 days. So instead of us trusting you, like we totally trust our members. Now we're gonna pay the 3% out of that $100 or $200. That's actually $6. And we're gonna pay you directly. We're gonna send it to your Cash App, however you want it. You know, Zelle's probably gonna be the fastest. We're gonna send it straight to you, so you have it in your bank account right there and then. So if you have one of these jobs, and more jobs, more and more positions, you're lucky that you work for a company just recently that paid you that night. Right? Which is great. But they're not all like that. A lot of them, the last 2 ones didn't pay you right away. Right? They paid you on your paycheck.
Yeah,
so usually, wait for that.
Majority of it's usually like restaurants that a lot of tips usually goes on the check and stuff like that. But when you're like a little small pop like PTs or Dotties and stuff like that, you can literally cash your tips out that same exact night. Pretty much every shift. So it makes a difference when you have cash in hand that same night when you actually get tipped that night, or you can literally wait 2 weeks to get that cash tip in your check. Like there's people that they can't wait 2 weeks for them to get that check.
Yep.
So that's the reason we created
tip advance.
Tip advance. It's almost like cash advance.
That's
but we're not dealing with cash. We're dealing with tips.
Yep.
So that's why we only hit this small market of people that really need the help. Pretty much we'll give them a 2 weeks heads up, with this money.
And maximum 14%. Yeah. That's still lower than the industry by half. And that was the value that we wanted to bring to the industry. But I think this tip advance thing where people can tip their person immediately through their credit card, more and more tips are being moved over to credit cards. And I'm from California. What I shared with Steven this morning was, listen, like cash tips is kind of rare over in California, at least in the area that I'm at. Why? Because a lot of businesses, right? They're writing that tip off too. It's like part of their meal. Boom, boom. Back in the day, they used to separate it. And I know back in the day in Vegas, probably majority of your tips is cash because people understood that, especially when you're in the industry, right? You're in the industry, you got tipped in cash. When you go hit a bar the next night or the same night, you're probably paying cash. When you can pay by your credit card, but you pay by cash because you understand, right? And the more and more that migration is happening, especially from California, but they're coming from everywhere. Utah, Arizona, Florida, even Texas, they're all coming in here. Vegas worked way different. It was highly cash involved, and people really understood that, right? That's also what kind of limited their growth, where someone who can afford a $400,000 home should be buying a $400,000 home. They shouldn't be buying a $200,000 home, right? A lot of people probably got in trouble because they had that extra money, right? And guess what they're going to do? They got this extra money that didn't count because the bank didn't count it when they went to go get approved for a mortgage. Now they don't think of this money as money. They earn it fast, and guess what happens? They blow it fast.
Yeah.
We still see it here, but slowly the economy is changing, even right here in Vegas, and a lot of it's going to be credit cards. Tip advance will turn that back to cash, and we'll eat that cost. Why would we eat that cost? Here's the genius part of this business model. Again, we go after the companies who have that pocket, who have that wealth, who want to get in front of the members and get exposure on the front line. Today, big brands, even middle-sized or small brands, alcohol brands, they comp and they try to reward the restaurant. Guess what the restaurant's doing? They're late on their payments, they're already in the negative, and so any kind of incentive that they get, they're trying to catch back up. It never gets really transferred towards, well, it doesn't get transferred towards savings, but sometimes, and discounts, but sometimes savings and discounts brings the wrong type of crowd. A lot of people, especially if they're coming over from California, tips me get less, right? Where you think like, all right, because they got that drink for free, right? Let's throw an example. If Bud Light, right, was able to tell you that I get, or promoted that buy one get one free, right? Or no, buy two get your third one free, right? That's only 33% off. But let's like, we'll promote that, right? You want to, the idea that's slowly not working is that because I bought 2 beers or got 3 beers and only paid 2, automatically, let's say it's $30 for all, 10, 10, 10, that your tip should be $10, 33%. For me, I got that one off, right? You gave me that one free based off the promotion from Bud Light. I saved $10. It's like me not tipping at all. That's not what's happening. They're going $20, right? They get $20, and they're tipping $2.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
It gets weird because like the more you give out of a discount out here in Vegas, the cheaper you get.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I've been working Vegas over 10 years, man. Like a lot of these guys that come in, you know, thousands of people, you know, that come into these big events, you know, drinking free, you know, left and right. Don't tip shit.
Yep.
But there's times where like we're charging $18 or for like, you know, a Tito soda, you know, Tanqueray tonic.
They tip you $10.
They're tipping you like 10, 15 bucks,
Yep.
you know.
Exactly.
Which is kind of weird, man. Like, it's supposed to like when you're supposed to be getting stuff free, that's when you're supposed to be tipping the most. But it's kind of opposite here. But we're trying to change that just a little slightly.
Because that's what it used to be.
Yeah.
And it changed in that direction. And it could have been a big part of like migration and like, you know, losing that mob mentality. You know what I mean? Like, and how people take care of people in the industry. Again, going back to the core of what tip advance really is, it's really industry to industry. We're not looking at scaling this out. We're not designing this program bigger than Vegas. We're only designing this to be big in Vegas, and that's it. It will expand, but I assure you that it will be perfect and ideal for the Vegas industry, the Vegas community, and we want to promote discounts, but not in the form that people think. We just want to turn the dollars that we're going into back rent, right, towards the restaurants. Because let's face it, we think restaurants is a great investment, but in the small time that I've been here, you know, like I've seen the worst of it. And coming from California, I've also my brother being in the industry, and I have friends in the industry. It's not an easy business, and so whenever they get anything a little bit, any help, guess where that's going? That's paying for the owner's Escalade. That's paying for the owner's mortgage. That isn't going towards where it's supposed to go, which is towards the front line. And for me, I always wanted to really focus on bartenders because I thought of bartenders as kind of providing not just drinks, but like an experience, right? There's a lot of connection that you can make. You know, early on, sitting down with you, like connecting me with other people at the bar, knowing that I'm new to Vegas, right? It's like automatically it was just like, I felt like I had friends there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you would pour, for example, he would pour, there'd be 4 girls or whatever, or 2 girls and 2 guys, 4 shots, and he's pouring 6. He's taking one himself, and you know, he's like, hey, Jack it over, you want to take a shot? Boom. And all of a sudden, I got some new friends at the bar. And because they know him, and he vouches, I'm like, this is pretty awesome. What I realize are all the good bartenders do that, right? They know how to identify, connect, and it's like, I don't have social media. That is my social media. You know, that's my social sphere when I go to these new places. And I try to take care of the bartender because that is my access in. If he trusts me, then everyone else will. And I've literally noticed that.
And that's probably, and bartenders are probably the #1 guys to talk to if you guys want to know about the industry as well. They'll let you know what's the cool spots in town, what cool restaurants, what nightclubs in the long run. I don't want to say this, but you know, they can even, if you even ask for like hookers or something, they can tell you go down on Tropicana in front of, you know, Orleans or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, they'll give you an answer. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, there's people, you know, it's like, well, hey, where's the coke? Where's the weed? Where's the hookers? It's like these are just regular conversation at bars. Now, like I don't want nobody getting offended about this, but it's gonna happen. You know, me and him probably talk about it every night. You know, but it's always business. To women, to cars, to alcohol, to food, and then we just recycle again, you know. So we pretty much, everything we do is literally dealing with the industry. So I mean, that's why I'm thinking that we're definitely the best combo for us, like tech and industry wise, and it's a good combination because like Vegas really need this this boost of like industry because like we said, in Vegas industry is really the ones that's actually holding Vegas down.
I see it.
But we just need this connection where everybody can have like this tip advance, page where everybody's connecting. We're all industry, so we know where's the hot spots, where the cool spots at. What's going down at First Friday, what's going down at Fremont. Regardless of where you go around in Vegas, you can talk to any bartender and you'll get a lot of info. Just make sure you tip your bartender and your cocktail servers. Oh, your industry person, whoever it is, even your Uber driver.
Absolutely.
We're all industry.
That's absolutely right. And that's something else that came to mind. I've talked to a lot of other people in the trail business, me being in it for over 8 years. I would talk to a lot of churros from LA, Orange County, to even down here in Vegas. Vegas has been the best. And I haven't talked to a single person that gets tipped for doing the churro business. Like, I get tips. It's like, and it's as simple as, for example, I deliver cars to the airport. Sometimes I deliver it there to the place early. When I deliver the car early, sometimes I'll cool down the car because I can remotely cool down the car because I know what time to get off the plane because I told them to message me once they get off the plane or once they get their luggage if they still have luggage. So I know exactly the amount of time that they need to get to from the baggage claim to their car to where it's parked. And even though it's a small walk, it's Vegas here. And Vegas, sometimes even when we think 95, today was beautiful. Yesterday was beautiful. It was a little windy, but the temperature was 98 at the highest. Talking to my brother from California and his friends were like, oh my gosh, like it was horrible today. So you don't really understand that heat because you get used to it. And I was one of those persons. But imagine getting into your car and now it's like it was already ready. It's parked conveniently outside and it's outside your terminal and it's cooled down. So that's one. Well, because they took a little bit longer and I got it there early so that I can cool down and get a good parking spot. It's there for an hour to 2 hours maybe, and it could be $6. Well, I don't make the customer pay. I'll put down $6 onto just the center console, right? And it's funny how far that $6 will go because now I use it kind of as a now. I hate to say it, but now sometimes I expect it. It's like because sometimes what they'll do is they'll leave a 20. Once one person left a $100 bill there, and thinks everything was great. I got left gift cards, Starbucks gift cards.
Yeah.
And so it's like these little things like you do, and you'd be surprised how people will respond to that and how there is a multiplier to it, right? And so great service and great tips actually does have a great multiplier. And we believe that the industry people are doing that because here's what happens. You go tip a bartender, and they get tipped well, right? It might change their attitude for that day, right? They might have got one bad tip, and all of a sudden they got a good tip. That's all it takes for that person to be smiling for the rest of the day because now there's hope. If they just got the 2, they're like, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's going to be a good night tonight. It's probably going to be a bad night, right? They're already making an assumption, so they attract that negative energy, and they can't, and they're wearing it. They're performers behind the bar, but they get that one tip, that $20. All of a sudden, they're that small little change in their micro expressions and their attitude, right? They don't know that they're doing it. It's just like now there's a little bit more hope. Right, there's a little bit more hope. I got a $1 tip over here. I got a $2 tip over here. And this guy came in here for one drink and took $20. There is hope, right? So what's going to happen? He's going to have a good night or a decent night. Guess what he's going to go do? When he goes out to the bar, he's going to do the same exact thing. He's going to be that $20 tipper. And then he's just going to pay it forward. And so that's what I see. I've seen it firsthand, and I've seen it for years. I've only been here for 2.5, almost 3 years. And I've seen it multiple times. And being with you, it's like I've seen it even more, and now I'm understanding. I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This is business. This is how business should be done, and it's how it really is done. Going back to Tip Advance, one of our our co-brand is Trust Fund, and that's really just to get people to think about what it really is. Are, is it a trust fund? What do people even really know what a trust fund is? But the word trust in our business is based off of a fund, creating a fund, financing. We want them to be able to know what that is. And then going back to tip advance. We want them to go into tip advance. If someone didn't tell you what it was, then hopefully you have enough curiosity and interest to go and look for yourself or ask somebody. And that's ultimately what we're going to do. We're going to keep it simple, real easy, and we're going to try to really just focus on what the industry needs when it comes to leveraging financing. And it's all through just education, really.
Yeah.
That's the opportunity. It's just being aware. It's the only reason why people don't have it is because they're not told about it. And that's pretty much it. But I can tell you, we've done the math. Companies can make money, businesses can make money, even at the lower interest rates. That's why credit unions have a solid membership. They have a solid following. If you don't have a credit card that is, or if you don't have a bank that's a credit union, chances are you're being taken advantage of. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah, they give you a $2,500 credit line, and you screw that up, and guess what? You're actually paying twice as much more in the long run. So don't get screwed out there by these companies.
So that's a big part too. It's about who knows and who's going to let you know, and you definitely want a company who understands that it is about not just what you know, it's who you know, because who you know is sometimes is collectively what you know.
Yeah.
Because if he knows something and I know him, then that's leverage. He can tell me where to go. He can tell me how to do it. He can tell me what to see. I just don't know sometimes. I've been tipping. I think I tip pretty well, but I've definitely learned a lot. I didn't think I could learn anything. I was like, damn, I'm learning a lot. How far a $20 tip, how to tip, when to tip, like the process of tipping, even how to communicate the tip. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's weird because money makes a lot of friends. Because you don't have to know a bartender or in the long run, but if you're a regular customer and you throw a bartender $10 to $20, he's gonna probably know your name. He's gonna probably remember you the next time you come. He probably already know what type of drinks you're already doing, especially if you're becoming a regular. You don't even have to say nothing to a person. You can have a customer just walk in the bar. They just literally don't drink, which is kind of crazy because there's a lot of people in the industry that comes to the bar and don't drink and just gamble their money away. But there's people that even though they gamble and they don't drink, a lot of bartenders tend to kind of wave them off because oh man, these guys don't drink, so they're not going to tip me.
Yeah.
These guys can hit progressive and not drink and still give you 10 to 20%. Jackpots.
$100.
So that's one thing. That's one thing you guys need to learn when it comes to bartending is that you just can't judge every buck out there, because there's people out there, like I said, that don't drink, but will still probably going to tip you more than the guy that's been drinking all day, So
yeah,
make sure you just take care of your customers for sure.
Take care of your customers. Take care of your bartenders. I think that's a big part. Just one last story for me. I met some pretty wealthy, rich people out here in Vegas. And it wasn't based off of how I dress or who I hang out with. It wasn't a friend of a friend. It all came from the industry. Bartender knew somebody, and I got introduced to JT from Chris, right? I got introduced to Bob from you. It's just like I got introduced to Ben from Chris, right? It's all industry. It's like, and Chris, she's a bartender, or she's a server, bartender, whatever. She works in the industry, but it wasn't just about her experiencing me as a customer, but we go out and drink, and it was like, I always tip well. I saw her tip kind of all right? It's like, definitely always tip more than she did, right? Being in the industry. And, because she wasn't even from Vegas industry, she was from Minnesota or something, so it's quite different. So yeah, going back to, making that connection, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
It's who you know, for sure, man.
And leverage out what they know.
Yeah, that slogan's been out for a while, so I don't think it's going anywhere.
I didn't realize it was a multiplier kind of thing. I didn't realize that's what it was, what that really means. I was like, who you know? But yeah, it definitely makes sense. But yeah, any last stories or?
No, man, that's about it, man.
Tips, you got a lot of tips in this one, but we covered everything that we talked about this morning almost.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So we're gonna continue to do this. This is like unedited, raw. doesn't matter if 5 people see this or 50,000 people see this. It's just about that right person just listening to this. And technically, if you're watching this, it's because you're either an investor, a partner, somebody who's working with us, or maybe just one of our members who's just a big fan and love what we're doing and definitely want to figure out more about what happens behind the scenes. And this is a way for us to keep it real.
Can't get no real than us, you know what I'm saying? We're regular guys, we're not uptight, suit and tight type of guys. We're regular average Joe that, bounce around from bar to bar to try to have fun, get to know these bartenders, golf every now and then, so we're just regular guys, trying to make a living, try to get, this industry to, correct in the right direction, and we just, we put the math in the tech and, and the beverage side of it, and, create this little, tip advance, and hopefully, we can help the industry out, man, because they need help.
And this might actually be a funny video that we clip when, in a year from now, and he's wearing all Gucci, he's wearing a Gucci jumpsuit,
Nah, man. I'm gonna go Burlington. Straight Burlington. They might have some Gucci's there, but I'm going to Burlington.
All right, man. Yeah. Hey, no alcohol. I don't think it made a difference, really. To be honest with you.
Yeah, the only thing that's gonna probably change us, probably like a year from now, is probably we're still gonna be the same. We're just gonna be probably like 20 pounds, a little heavier, and pure muscle, man, and probably. Hopefully, about 100,000, customers under our wing, man.
Yeah. Hopefully, we don't go through like a Mormon phase or a Jehovah's Witness phase or who's what's Tom Cruise's that one, Scientology.
Oh.
Hopefully, we don't go through that stage, or go through a no meat diet.
Nah.
Hopefully, we can get back on the pork over here.
No swine. No
But
swine.
either way, whatever it is, we'll always be 100% transparent, and we'll just keep it on record.
Yeah. Shit.
We'll get exposed. You want to know what's going on since day one? We actually have videos from day one. I don't know about those videos though, but for the right people who really want to know the inside scoop and want to go through hours and hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
Like we've recorded it all. This has evolved, and we've done it at the bar, in the industry in mind, and doing exactly what we're saying we're doing, and servicing the people that we are. Right? We continue to promote the industry as much as we possibly can. We wait for the right server. We always repeat to the same bartenders, and we want to support them. And this is just an extension and a way for us to be able to do it at a pretty large scale, but such a small little area of the world.
Yeah.
Las Vegas.
That's
Las Vegas, baby.
And what better place than to start this fucking tip advance, man? We should wear our t-shirts, man. We're wearing our t-shirts next time, man, so you guys can kind of see, what our t-shirts look like. I mean, we do got 2 forms. I think we should kind of stick with the 2 forms. I don't know.
I know.
But
we'll soon we'll have a bunch of shirts. We'll have more people. Well, that's a good thing. More people are going to want to wear those shirts. People are excited about what we're doing.
let's run to the gym tomorrow.
I don't want to put sweat on mine, dude. I'm framing mine.
What you mean? We're getting more.
But that's like the first one.
What if the others might be better?
They're definitely going to be better.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't think it'll be better, but these are the first ones. I'm just like, literally, mine's hanging.
Yeah.
Mine's hanging.
Let's instead of going to the gym, let's wear it the next time we have a podcast. Let's go to maybe Kabuki or something for happy hour, and wear those shirts and let's see, people question us a little bit,
Enough of
See
that.
what's going on.
You
know what I want mine, man? I want a tip advance gold chain.
I got the guy. I do. It's been a while. My brother has a guy.
Oh man, we want some stickers too, man, to kind of put on the car, man. Like those little Filipino stickers that you put on car windows and stuff like that.
Well, if we get this deal signed for the BMW, I think we should put a gold sticker on the side that says just tip advance, or just the logo.
Which one, the IA?
Or just the logo on the front.
No, I think we need the logo on the front.
That's it. That's all.
No, but you need to have the tip advance. So
no, we put in worse. When they see that logo and they start seeing us wearing it around, it's like, what is that logo?
The fuck is that, man? It's connected to something. I seen it on a fucking Lambo or something, man.
That's it for us.
Hell yeah.
Well, thank you for spending this time with us.
Yeah, we apologize. We didn't get to drink alcohol today, man. We didn't have any of that Lalo, so we drank that all. So hopefully
Yeah.
they can give us a couple of boxes of it, man. Something to sponsor them a little bit more.
Yeah, Lalo.
It's a fucking good product, man.
Exactly what we're talking about. We're not looking for a discount. I mean, if we're buying two, you're giving us one. We'll continue to keep on buying more and telling other people to buy more.
Yeah.
It's a multiplier. We're not looking for discounts. Just leverage to tell more people and expand our community and share.
And we will definitely be a distributor in the long run. We're gonna be bar hopping anyway, so we're literally gonna be talking to bartenders and managers, even owners. We can even sell your products and whatever else you have under your branch, stuff like that. And yeah, man, that's what we're gonna be doing. That's how we're gonna sponsor anybody else starts coming with like liquor or like beer, stuff like that, even seltzer and stuff. But yeah, we're gonna get this shit going, man. TipAdvance, man. .com.